Good afternoon, and thank you for the kind invitation. And I'm very proud to represent my association, the Israeli Urological Association, and to share with you some of my thoughts and view for the vision of urology in Israel. Actually, I'm not going to talk about urology. I'm going to make my flight a little bit higher to give you some panoramic view about our profession, and maybe it's relevant to all other disciplines in medicine. So we started our journey in 1956 when we became a society, and we changed in 1998 to association. We have about 400 members, not enough female urologists, 20 recognized residency programs, and 124 residents. I'm going to talk a little bit about four subjects, about urology subspecialties, about the minimal invasiveness in urology and high-tech surgeries, women in urology, and something about telemedicine. So 20 years ago, urology was a very wide discipline. Department with 6 seniors, each of them did almost everything about urology. With time, excuse me. With time, our profession became more professionalized, and the subject became more advanced and narrow, and the subject, like urolithiasis, didn't change the percentage in the population. Like urolithiasis, in any time, 30% of hospitalized patients in each urology department are patients with urolithiasis, and in referral center, it can get higher to 50 to 60%. So what happened with 6 seniors in one department, that each of them did almost 60% of the workload of the department. So now, only one of them is doing endourology and is doing about 50% of the workload, and all the five rest doctors are doing all the rest. So we have to reconsider centralize the human resource allocation of medical staff positions of every subspecialty. And how do we do that? Should every department do everything? How many robots do we need in Israel? How many stone centers? How many pediatrics centers are needed? We need to really think and build centers of excellence that will be excellent in treatments, facilities, and very experienced staff. We will have a center of excellence of endourology, center of excellence of robotic surgery, pediatric urology, female urology, etc. If a department will want to do everything, we will have to have giant departments with many, many seniors, and we will not be able to do that. What about minimal invasiveness in urology? Actually, we are facing a very big advancements in high-tech surgeries and minimal invasiveness. We started not many years ago with 1 robot, and one we have about 4 or even more. We started like 20 years ago with semi-rigid ureteroscope, and it became flexible and more thinner, and now we have chip on the tip and even single-use chip on the tip, very cheap ureteroscope. We started with a low-power holmium laser for breaking stone, which was a great achievement and advancement. And now we have a variety of different type of high-power laser machines and a very sophisticated modulation of the laser pulse that can do almost everything. Medical oncology, we see also a big advancement. Actually, there is a reduction in the number of surgeries and major surgeries that are being done comparing to the past because of this big advancement in medical oncology. And actually, after the COVID pandemic, we expect that it will be even better with the messenger RNA technology. A group of women in our field in urology just published a paper in AUA, American Urological Association News. And this is, all numbers are taken from there. In Israel, 41% of the practicing physicians are women, and almost 60% of medical students are women. In urology, we are still way behind. In 2092, 8% of the Israeli urologists were women, and currently we have 20 seniors and 20 residents. So we are growing in the number of women urologists, and this is to show you how it's growing, exponentially growing in decades, the number of women that started urology residency with time. Considering that, we have to do a human resource replanning about all our programs. We know that there is a maternity leave. There is not such a real paternity leave. And we are using radiation in our field. Pregnancy is 9 months, and pregnancy is not an on-off decision. Sometimes a women physician is waiting for a pregnancy several months or even more than that. So what should she do with that? Just omit the potential for radiation? Should she tell everybody? So these are all barriers for women in medicine and especially in urology. And we have to ensure that all our trainees have equal training and exposure opportunity and need to reduce all these barriers. I'm going a little bit faster because I see that time is gone. And actually the Israeli Urological Association, in the next week there is our annual meeting. We are going to vote to change our name of our association from the Association of the Male Urologists. In Hebrew it's different, it's Igud HaUrologim HaYisraeli. We are going to change it to something more general like the Association of Urology. Telemedicine, there are many papers. There was one that checked the things about urology after the pandemic, and they saw that there is a good consideration to implement this field in the follow-up of prostate cancer, urinary incontinence, stone disease, and uncomplicated UTI. It can make the in-person urology clinic less busy, shortening the waiting list, and can make it more effective. Actually, we can reduce the number of forgotten stents that we cannot leave it more than 3 months. It's a disaster. We saw many of these in the pandemic. Can reduce the no-show in our clinic, the follow-up after oncology clinic, etc. And finally, I'm very proud to tell you that we are going to host one of the most important international conference in urology, the World Congress of Endourology and Urotechnology in Jerusalem, 23rd to 27th of October this year. And we built an Israeli local scientific committee that are currently building the scientific program, and we are working simultaneously on the social events as well. And I think it will be a very good and important conference, good for Israel, good for Israeli medicine. We expect about 3,000 physicians, participants to come from all over the world. And I recommend and expect each of you that are interested in our field to welcome in our conference. Thank you.